It's me, Shoot the Fantasy! And today we are going to be looking at this Super Mario 64 recreation by Nimso Ny. So, just so you guys know, I'm actually a game developer. And
it's me, Mario!
It's a classic sound there. But I'm a game developer. And I've been trying to figure out what the heck to do with this channel for a while now. And I figure I'm going to do a series called Quality Assurance. So the basic concept is that I'm going to go around maybe checking out people's fan games, indie games, what have you, and I'm going to critique or you know, I'm going to critique these games as if I was a QA tester. And because I'm a game developer, offer up solutions to fix problems that I find, or otherwise just give endless praise, or just point out issues. So, let's get into it. Let's check out the options. Okay, so first, yeah, we've got the basic stuff. I wish I could adjust how much anti-aliasing I could have here, but some anti-aliasing is better than nothing, so. Other thing is I noticed that there's kind of like some pixelization on these on the menu highlights here, but that's me nitpicking. Can I, oh, okay. I can't pull on his face.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Okay. Oh, what's that? He's walking by himself. Okay, so first thing I'm noticing is we've got a bit of a dead zone tolerance issue. So either there's no check, if statement check to see if the dead zone value is set to any minimum value or below minimum value, or if there is a check, it's set a little too low for my controller. So two possible fixes. One, if it's not already added, add a dead zone check. Or if it already does exist, add an option so that people can create their own, set their own dead zone value. Or maybe this is intentional and Nimso Ny wanted to recreate the drifting Joy-Con issue as a nod to Nintendo. But that would just be covering up for a bug. Okay, so let's actually move around, and jumping feels good. Okay, let's do a dive. Yep, that works. Okay, let's move the camera. Okay, so Nimso Ny's done something kind of interesting here. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but if I push up on the stick, I'll kind of slowly look upwards, and if I push down on the stick, we'll slowly start to look downwards, and if I push left or right, we get a faster up and down motion. And if I want to rotate the camera left or right, I use the triggers. And I mean, to be fair, Super Mario 64 did not have all these extra buttons that the Xbox One controller has, so I mean, he's got some flexibility for what he can do. Plus, the original Super Mario 64 didn't have great controls either. When I played this game as a kid, I usually just relied on the camera to sort itself out. So, if we want to judge the camera based on that, that seems to actually be working rather nicely. Wait, what? Were we still running when I let go of the stick? Okay, no, that might have been my imagination. But we do have a drifting issue. And I don't get this issue playing any other games, so I'm not going to blame my Xbox One controller. I've been using this for quite a few years without issues, and I've never had drifting issues on my 360 controllers. The only time I've ever had a drifting issue is if a game did not have a proper dead zone set, or did not have options for setting a dead zone. Like, I think whatever value my controller's outputting and giving the game right now is low enough that you could probably investigate it in the inspector and nullify it. Like, make the minimum value that has to be set higher than whatever value this controller is outputting. Now, it's possible Nimso Ny has a controller that does not output it's possible this controller outputs a more perfect value. This is probably something he didn't notice in his own testing. But this is why you have multiple people test something, because just because something works on your machine doesn't mean it works elsewhere. And it can sometimes be a pain. Okay, so let's go inside the castle. I want to stress test this camera a little bit, because usually cameras start to kind of fail in close quarters. Oh, what would you get there? Okay, so we've got some camera clipping. I can actually see straight to the other side of the castle just by rotating the camera in. Oh, wait. Interesting. If I go far enough, the camera tries... Oh. Okay. So, we've kind of broken the camera there. Not in the sense that this game's no longer playable, but in the sense that we confused the camera. So let's go back into... no. Okay. So, if you hold the stick forward, you can actually accidentally walk yourself back outside. But to be fair, that was an issue with the original game as well. So, I mean, if you're trying to emulate an old title, or, I mean, reimagine an old title, and you end up with some of the same flaws, well, I can't really... That's a different issue entirely. It's more of a complaint and less of a bug. And in all intents and purposes, that kind of still... It's still within the realm of copying the old game. But yeah, we are able to kind of break the camera there. And I mean, to be fair, that's a common pitfall. So I'm not gonna blame Nimso Ny for that. But visually, this definitely looks on par with the Nintendo product. Like, if you said Nintendo made this, I'd probably believe you. Well, this drifting issue, though. Definitely not my controller's fault. If I really wanted to get in depth, I could get my other Xbox One controller and see what happens. But usually controllers have some deviation in what values they output. One controller might be slightly less calibrated than another, but usually you should still have code to defend against inconsistencies. Yeah, walking through the doors feels nice. So it's just very seamless. It's the particle effects and everything are great. Now, since we can already get the camera to phase through stuff, we can kind of see that there's definitely nothing under here. Like, nothing actually has been developed other than what we see. What we see is what we get. There's no hidden kind of area that Nimso Ny's been working on in here. And honestly, I already watched his video. He said himself that, like, he's not trying to make this a full-fledged game or anything. This is just him testing his skills to, you know, emulate something. Well, I guess in this case, emulate Super Mario 64 controls while emulating, or while reimagining the, how it looks, like modernizing it. Okay, Nimso Ny's done a good enough job that all I can really do on this is nitpick. So the first nitpick being, we've got this drifting issue. Easy enough to fix with an if statement, so I mean, it's very minor. I think the other thing is, if you want to get pedantic, I see a texture seam here. And what I think this is another seam. Yeah, this might be another texture seam. Like, we're really nitpicking here. Okay, so let's swim. So one thing I want to say about the swimming is that the swimming actually feels a lot more fluid than Super Mario 64. So in this case, this actually feels enhanced. I'd say that this is better than what Super Mario 64 had in terms of swimming. And one thing I noticed is Mario's like a superhuman when it comes to swimming in water in this project. Like, we can literally... It's like someone gave us the blue tunic from Legend of Zelda. And we can just swim up waterfalls. I'm not sure if that's a bug or an intended feature, but I can't really complain because it lets me get up here faster, so... So now we need to figure out how to get up onto that castle. Oh. Now let's see. Can we clip through the wall here? We sure can. So you can kind of see that this is a very empty on the inside. So what this means is that the inside and outside, the inside is not actually part of the indoors here. Nimso Ny either is using a separate scene for the inside of the castle, or Nimso Ny has the inside of the castle stored elsewhere in the same exact scene. Possibly underneath the map, but from what I've been able to tell, like, we can't get the camera to clip under the ground. So, but we can get it to clip through walls. Well, let's get really close up to these textures. These textures are actually fairly decent. Like, if we get really, really close up here, you can kind of start to see the normal maps and everything. But, like, that's a lot of detail otherwise. So, if I had to give this project a rating... Actually, I'm not going to give it a rating, but I'll say that Nimso Ny has managed to really do what he set out to do. The only critiques I can give is the camera is able to phase through the walls. But, I mean, I can still tell he's done a lot of work on the camera. Like the auto camera stuff. If I use the auto camera, I'm actually hard pressed to get this camera to actually want to clip through anything. Like, the camera does not seem to ever clip through the walls of anything on its own. Okay, we can have it, never mind, we can have it clip through the trees, but, that's almost inconsequential in this case, because it's still not really breaking the illusion, I don't think. But, when you can, like, look through the ground and such, it breaks the illusion that this is actually a world, or there's actually more to this world. But also, I guess, realistically, how far can we walk to the edge here? Yeah, so we can already tell that anyway, so... But again, Nimso Ny's kind of like given us more, allowed us to kind of walk further ahead. in the actual Super Mario 64, they had invisible walls that kind of blocked even getting up this high. So yeah, this is Super Mario 64 reimagined by Nimso Ny. It's not a full game. It's basically a tech demo. But it's a tech demo that looks like it could be a full game made by Nintendo, so kudos there. So, if you guys like this video, feel free to subscribe, and if you want to keep up to date with my future videos, feel free to also click the bell notification icon. And if you have any ideas, or if there's any fan games or indie game projects that you want me to check out, maybe you have your own indie game project you want me to check out, or you want me to check out somebody else's, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. Also, I'm thinking I might also check out that Ocarina of Time remake as well. Actually, no, I think I'm actually going to check that one out next. It's another recreation of, like, of course, Ocarina of Time, but in the Unreal, inside Unreal Engine 4. So, we'll see how that one goes, because that one takes a different turn. This project tries to emulate Nintendo's art style while staying true to Super Mario 64. The other one tries to do realistic graphics while not trying to look like a Nintendo product. It's really just trying to make an old game look better, or look more realistic. So we'll check that one out next. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.